Hello and welcome to episode 57 of the NF Show, NF Magazine's official video podcast. I'm your host for this week, Evan Campbell, back from vacation, and I'm just going to apologize here beforehand. I am not Brett. I do not have awesome toys behind me to show off in this video. I know that I'm going to be a letdown after the awesome episode that my lovely co-host put on last week, and my co-host is, of course, the always amazing Noah Ward.
Why, thank you. That's a wonderful introduction. Hi there, Evan.
Hi, it's great to be back, and I noticed that Brett must have rubbed off on you because I see a new amiibo behind your right shoulder.
Yeah, actually, I have a couple since I've recorded here at home. I have Mega Man facing off against Ike because I was thinking, well, what are my princesses that have their hands out? Who are they going to be most excited about? And at first it was Mega Man, but I'm like, no, look at Ike. He's like one of the tallest and coolest, most badass amiibos that there are. And so they're like, oh, check this out. Mega Man's like, not today, Ike. I'm going to kick your butt. And then Little Mac's trying to do a punch from behind. Little Mac's really hard to pose. But in addition to that, I also have in a package still. Oh, this is hard. I've got T-Rex arms in this setup. I got a Toon Link, and I left it in the package because I wanted to bring up the wonderful marketing that Nintendo does that you can see if you've gotten a Toon Link or if you want to go and look at one in the store. So not all amiibo have this occurring on their package, but underneath the name there's a subtitle for Toon Link. And Toon Link is awesome. There he is on camera. If you're watching the show, I'm showing off my Toon Link in a package. But what I think is particularly amusing is that it says Toon Link up here in the corner, and then underneath that it says Link Cartoon. Why? Who calls that? Who calls this character Link Cartoon? I don't call it. It's Toon Link, and you don't need to explain what Toon stands for or what it's short for. It's just really stupid, and not every amiibo even has a little subtitle like that. But I was thinking, Evan, it would be fun to make this kind of a game throughout this episode and maybe future episodes where one of us goes, Toon Link, and the other person has to go, Link Cartoon. So here, it's going to be like Marco Polo, all right? And it'll be totally random when it happens, and you have to respond with your best
Link
Smash Bros.
Cartoon.
Announcer voice. And if you want to emulate like a question and answer tone or question and question tone, that works too. So here we go. Toon Link.
Link Cartoon.
Yes, that's great. All right, so that was a practice run. I'm going to be throwing it into random sentences here and there, and you're welcome to do it to me as well. You can say Toon Link, and I'll respond with Cartoon Link. Or Link Cartoon. See, it's hard.
Yeah, get it right, Noah. This is your game, by the way. Follow your own rules.
I'm trying, but it's just I want to show you. It's while it is a game, games have to have challenge, and it's not as immediately challenge or easy as it may seem, especially since we had a time change, and I think both of us are just kind of out of it. And there's not a lot of news to talk about. But back to you, Evan.
Well, those are strong words coming from someone talking about a challenge from someone who loves Kirby's Epic Yarn so much. Sorry, do you need some aloe with that burn right there?
There is a challenge to Kirby's Epic Yarn. If you're actually trying to collect all the medals, I will have you know.
Yeah. Challenge to stay awake while you're playing. I kid. Kirby's Epic Yarn's not that bad.
It's an awesome game.
I like to rib Noah since he ribs me about I don't even want to mention the game. That game this week. But anyway, before we get into talking about more amiibo, more awesome Nintendo games, and of course your fantastic feedback out there, we wanted to let you know how thankful we are and how pumped we are that our Kickstarter is not only backed, we are now at over 2,600 subscribers, which has just blown us away, and we're over $80,000. Both are records over last year's Kickstarter. The NF Force, or Nintendo Force, is growing stronger year over year, and it's just very exciting. And we're in the final 24 hours. If you're watching this, if you're listening to us, it's probably over, but you can still subscribe. So everyone, if you haven't jumped in yet, now is definitely the time. Be part of that final push. You're going to get posters. Now there's a paper craft that you can get with one of the magazine issues that looks really cool that Lucas has thought of. That was like an old Nintendo Power present. He showed R-Wing, which we may do. It may be something else, but just so much exciting stuff. So thank you so much for backing year 3 of NF Magazine.
Yes, here. It's very exciting that it was a runaway success and it's done so well, and that we outpaced last year, which I think is most notable of all. That it's not plateauing or going down the subscriber base. The Nintendo Force is continuing to grow, and that's so awesome.
Yes, it's very exciting, and hopefully, along with NF Magazine continuing to grow, we can continue to grow here on the NF Show. So let's get right into it with our first news of note. And that's that the first cross-buy games are now available. We have Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars and the indie skateboarding game Ollie Ollie, which are out. And if you buy them on either Wii U or 3DS, you'll get the other version free, which is very exciting news, Noah.
I'm a little bit on the fence as far as Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Toon Link!
Link cartoon!
Because the gameplay just doesn't look that, I don't know, the tipping mechanic is something that I've seen in previous Donkey Kong games, and so this is, I think, the first one I'm going to pass on, even though it is really cool that there's a cross-buy option here.
No tip for you. I'll just pass.
Yeah, I'm holding the tip. This one. But you know what? Ollie Ollie, totally different type of game, not a game that I would first think like, hey, I should get that, but maybe that's where I should go and try my first cross-buy experience for me personally.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally see this come to Nintendo consoles. Hopefully, Virtual Console, a retroactive type deal, or just going forward at the very least. The next obstacle I, though, feel that is a problem is we have cross-buy. What about cross-save? Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars seems like the perfect game that, hey, while I'm at home, I'll play this at home, but then I want to play it on the go. And as far as I'm aware, that's not possible. You own both versions, but transferring saves. And there have been titles, or it may have just been one, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, actually. You downloaded a little app on the 3DS that would allow you to transfer saves between the Wii U and 3DS, but that's kind of a cumbersome type thing. I'm curious if we'll see sooner than later some type of save storage in the cloud from Nintendo, because that's going to be really needed as we move forward and as expected. But that may be something we don't see until the next consoles.
Hey, one step at a time, one small step at a time. I'm optimistic, hoping for many more cross-buy titles to be announced at E3, because why not? Fingers crossed, it's a perfect time to do it. And if these do relatively well enough, which you can't imagine why they wouldn't, I guess there is the requirement that you need to own both the Wii U and a 3DS for it to be relevant for you. But it's a good start. It's a good start. Hey, you know what? Maybe the next Animal Crossing game will be a cross-buy game. It'll be both on 3DS and Wii U. That'd be cool.
That would be amazing. Actually, I think they could do a lot of cool stuff with cross-buy. I mean, I'm someone who just wants them to have this like one console future, but you can get different variations of it. But even in that situation, and kind of my crystal ball, how I'd like to see Nintendo evolve, you're going to have this cross-save and saving online, and I'm curious when Nintendo will address that. And I think that would help a lot of aspects. But like you said, it's always baby steps with Nintendo, especially in the online realm. I'm just applauding them because they're taking baby steps in the right direction. Yeah. Virtual Console definitely be next, but great to see this. And Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, it does look like more of the same, but one thing that I am very appreciative of to the developer, which I believe is NST, which is based here in North America, they used to make the really awesome Wave Race series, and I believe 1080 Snowboarding. Be great to see one of those come back. But just the online aspect, the level creation, that you can share stages, you can vote on stages, they always seem to push the boundaries in certain ways, especially from a Nintendo first-party side with online. Another example is Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS. which had voice chat back then on the DS and lobbies and stuff, and had a lot of cool stat tracking and everything. So I think NST has gotten put under the Mario vs. Donkey Kong kind of uh,
Biodome?
death march in a
Death
kind of way, yeah, where they just keep pumping those out, but they still do really cool things even under that umbrella, which is really neat.
Yeah.
But speaking of awesome online handheld games, Noah, I have played a ton more Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
Oh, that's great. Did you find some friends to play with?
I have not played with any like friends that I know like in my personal life or have just met, whether it's through the NF show or NF magazine or anything. I've played with complete randoms. I've just kind of found matches to jump in on, and for the most part, the experience has been super positive. There's only been a couple of times where I've had that noobs type anger that they're messing up. Because of course, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, if you're unfamiliar, it's totally co-op. There's not really a competitive side to it. But when things go wrong, it's definitely not my fault, everyone. It is always my new teammates and everything. But online has worked surprisingly well. I believe I've only had probably one dropout so far, and I've put in over 20 hours, I believe, at this point into the game in single player and online multiplayer. Super smooth. There is no voice chat, which is a bummer. That'll be brought up in my review. I'm reviewing the game for NF Magazine, just to remind everyone once again, so that's something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
But there is the keyboard chat, and because it's such a cooperative game, with Monster Hunter, and you should sort of know your roles. You know your objective going in. It's definitely not a deal breaker. There's still strategy. I would love if I could just talk to people. But I have found myself being put in games with people from South America, from France, where only short phrases are going to work anyway. It seems like they have worldwide matchmaking and everything. But man, it is so much fun to get in with a group of good people. And I had one, I believe it was Sunday or Saturday morning, Noah, where a guy that was definitely much better than everyone decided to come down to kind of the lower levels. So you kind of rank up and get new objectives as you go through online. It's like HR1, and then it goes up from there. So we were doing HR2 and HR3 type battles, and we had a guy from HR6 come down. So not only is he familiar, he's got really awesome weapons and armor and stuff that help him. And we just had this great group, and for 2 hours, it was just like this really fun experience, taking down these new monsters, having a blast doing it, being very successful and everything. And I'm telling you, Monster Hunter just brings out this like great feeling of not only working with complete strangers and like such a positive atmosphere, but taking down these awesome beasts that are just animated so well, and it's like these epic boss battles even on the 3DS screen that like so exciting, so exhilarating, and I just love it. Like this is a game I could see myself playing all year or two because there's just so much content there.
Well, that is definitely some high praise, voice chat aside. Yep, that's about it.
I think, and I'm not going to push you on it because I know it doesn't seem like your cup of tea, but for everyone out there, I want to share those like exciting feelings with my friends and everything. And there's definitely the Monster Hunter series is known for having a steep learning curve, and I think they do a much better job with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I've talked about that previously. But once you get to that point where you can take on these monsters, and the game is kind of relentless after that, it's just more and more monsters for you to take on, which is exciting. It's so much fun just coming together, whether it's with your friends or everything, and tackling these monsters, getting new gear. I think there's 12 different weapons, and they all play pretty differently to an extent. Seeing what they can do against the monster, you can be a support type character and stuff like that. And I think that's why I'm pushy about it with you, Noah, is because I think if you can get over that initial hump, and definitely it can be a really big hump because it's overwhelming to an extent, it's just very thrilling and so much fun. And I really can't think of anything out there that's quite like it with an online experience or a co-op experience, especially on the 3DS.
Yeah, really probably not since Resident Evil. What was the one before Revelations? I can't remember. The arena
Mercenaries
shooter?
3D.
Yeah, Mercenaries 3D. That is the first thing that comes to my mind that might be kind of similar, where it's intense and it's action-packed and epic moments getting by the skin of your teeth. Something else that I think is noteworthy about this, and it may not be unique for much longer since we have another game that's coming around the corner, but it's great to have another really exciting game on 3DS that's getting you onto the system, and it's not Pokemon, because that's probably the last game before this one that caused any waves or excitement amongst 3DS owners.
Yeah, it's I think Monster Hunter. It's always had this dedicated fan base, but um, I'm guessing it helps too. I would have still liked there to be a Wii version, even though it's just kind of an upport. But seeing those monsters on a big screen, but
Yeah.
you kind of have the whole fan base on the 3DS. Everyone can go online, and it's impressive what Capcom's done. I know that Capcom gets a lot of flack, and sometimes rightfully so, but like you said, they've provided some really cool online experiences with the 3DS. I mean, you can look at Super Street Fighter 4 3D right when the console launched, being a strong online fighting game experience. I had fun with that when the 3D initially launched and everything, but Monster for just Ultimate definitely knocks it out of the park. If any of you out there are jumping in the game, definitely hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Evan Campbell. Let me know if you want to play it sometime. If you need some help, I could try to be a mentor to you, kind of bring you into the Monster Hunter light, show you why it's so glorious as we laugh at the outsiders like Noah for his ignorance. um, but yeah, I'd definitely like you to help out anyone. I'm so curious what everyone out there thinks about the game, especially if you're a first timer. So definitely email us at show@nfmagazine.com or leave a comment on the YouTube page, because I want to share and talk about it as much as possible, even though I know that you probably aren't excited about it. I'm definitely looking forward to talking about this game more and more in the weeks ahead, and probably having more specifics about really cool monsters that I took down, and hopefully more success stories than failures going forward.
And less noobs, although I personally would enjoy more noob stories.
Noob stories. So one quick thing that got me kind of riled up, Noah, and I didn't know this necessarily. I started watching some videos over the past few days to see if I was missing anything, because there is a ton of depth to this. Even with the like combos, real quick, it seems like you can just press X and A, like two buttons, but there's different combos within that, almost like an action game or whatever that you can use. So you can just use those buttons and kind of mash or just go back and forth. But there are actually combo presses with most of these to deal even more damage that's like underneath the surface. But anyway, one of the big features to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is the added maneuverability, and you can actually leap and mount onto monsters this time. There's like verticality through the stages, so I can like run off, jump on one, and like use my weapons to like go into their back and stuff like that. I'm getting better at mounting, and I was playing in, I think, HR1 or whatever. I was trying to continue to beat a monster to get new armor. And the thing is, other co-op players, if you're mounting, they can still attack the enemy, even though you're kind of like in this cutscene type thing. But they also can knock you off. So I kept jumping on the mount, and I had people with, I think it was a guy with like a big hammer or whatever, continue to just knock me off immediately. And there's no voice chat, and once you're in a match, you have kind of pre-made chat things. But I so badly just want to be like, what the heck are you doing? Like, stop attacking. Just let me take this thing down. You're screwing everything up. You're driving me insane. So that was kind of the one irritating. So if you didn't know and you're playing Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, if someone mounts that beast, if you're going to attack, make sure that you're coming nowhere near your partner, or just stay away. Let the mount happen, and then you can get back to your attacking ways.
Next game.
My next game, well, you have been playing this. I believe you and Brett may have talked about this last week while I
Yeah.
was away. But I've been playing more Pokemon Shuffle, and I continue to enjoy it very much. It is the best $0 I've ever spent on my Nintendo 3DS.
Well, that's good to hear. I actually was starting to get into a groove for a couple days, and then I just immediately fell out of it because I have other free to play games on other devices that are more immediately satisfying and interesting. And so if I have to split up where I'm going to spend my free to play game time, Pokemon Shuffle is not winning it. But I'm so impressed by what Benjamin says he's been accomplishing, which I think we're going to get into during the feedback section. It's just some people are really going full bore and doing some incredible things and not even spending a cent, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I still haven't spent any money. Have did you or Brett had either of you put any money into Pokemon Shuffle?
No, no, no.
Okay, and it's the perfect game for me. Like after I've done a Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate session, or like to warm up, even though I'm not using buttons, you're just using the stylus. I've had a great time putting 5 minutes into it every day, and now what's really smart is there's special daily stages, there's special
Yeah.
events. You get extra coins, I think, if you check in 10 times. I street pass with some people, which gets you extra coins or a jewel or whatever. There's some really smart hooks in there. And yes, I think that the pricing can be a little uh, exotic's not the right word, egregious, I guess, where it's like $48. You can do a $48 one-time thing for like a bunch of crystals that can then
Yeah.
become like play play experience. Play coins kind of gets mixed up with 3DS, or you can use them on actual coins or whatever. But I haven't spent a dime, and the game's not very. I feel like it's not too pushy. Like you have to actively go in to buy the jewels. I haven't come up where it's like buy a jewel, buy a jewel, buy a jewel. It's kind of under a subset of menus that make it not feel as gross, I feel like, as it could have been. And what I like about this, and it's a Pokemon game, so the Pokemon company's involved and they have app experience, as you probably know, Noah. But I like that this is a game where they're updating it daily. There's something new to look forward to, because I think that's something. I'm not saying I want to see Nintendo's mainline series go to free to play necessarily, but I think with Mario Kart and Smash Brothers and other games, especially with online elements, you need something new every day to make me want to sign on and make other people sign on. There's got to be something that's going to surprise you every day.
I wonder what other franchises would be good to transfer over into the free to play realm. And bringing up Mario, that's kind of a good guess, I would say, Evan, just because we've seen Mario puzzlers before. I wonder, I was also trying to think, what if Donkey Kong would actually make a good candidate, just because it's not the top of their AAA franchises, but it's well known enough that it would help get potentially a lot of exposure for that franchise. I'm trying to think, would they want to balance out the marketing potential that a free to play game that encourages you to play it every day would give a franchise, or do they need a franchise that has lots and lots of depth like Pokemon, which has hundreds and hundreds of monsters to collect,
Yeah.
that they have a lot of content to draw from to extend the levels and the objectives and goals to go towards?
Well, I think that they're happy with Pokemon Shuffle. It's over 1 million downloads within a couple of weeks. They already put out the press release and everything. Be curious if it maybe gets some mentioned in Iwata's next investors question and answer. I know that I'm probably gonna anger people, but I think I've brought this up before with you, Noah. I think Mario Kart should be free to play and available day one with the next console.
Yeah, that would be really neat to get Mario Kart that soon. How were you envisioning the monetization would occur in that case?
I think that it should be free to play, but there should be the same old. You can buy the $60 base game, and I think for it to be available on launch, I'm guessing the full base game wouldn't be available. So you could do a $60 digital pre-order and make sure, like a season pass, make sure you get all the newly added features, or you could wait until the game's actually printed on disc. But in the meantime, I think they should start with maybe eight characters at launch, a handful of stages in the like a basic online mode, and build it out from there over time. And I think you could have, like I said, these your regular old traditional option to get everything at $60, or you could go a la carte with characters, and they could just make it
Hmm.
like any type of MOBA where they switch up what character you can play as in the free to play version every few weeks or every month or whatnot.
Yeah, I could see that spiraling into different types of carts, different costumes for the racers. Hopefully, not so much on the track perspective, but maybe they would sell different cups. There's a set of base cups that come with the game, and then you can purchase additional cups. It's not something that I want to get into. That sounds exciting to me from a personal ownership perspective. I would much rather prefer to just be one and done with Mario Kart, but there are many franchises that I've loved that have started to go this free to play route, which is incredibly frustrating. So while I don't necessarily want to see Mario Kart go free to play, I could definitely see it going that way based on your description, and I'd probably I'd probably try it. I think that's the free to play games. They have no boundaries to entry. I think everybody's going to try these games if they have the hardware. But
I,
how long will it be? How successful will it be is a question.
I'm very much like, once again, I don't think that the traditional way of purchasing it should go away. And I think to keep the online modes filled, having it be free to play with the rotating kind of who the main kart rider is will be helpful in keeping that online races full, keep people invested in it. And secondly, I think for people, Noah, I know that you kind of go back and forth on the fence of Mario Kart, and I know that I think you've passed some or you've bought them and never played them. Imagine if you could just buy Roy, who I believe is your favorite racer, and then it's like $10 to get the full single player or something. Like if you could just spend $15 and get the Mario Kart experience you want and not have to buy everything else. I think that can be the other kind of advantage to
Yeah,
consumers if they do it that way.
yeah, that's for sure.
So I very doubtful, and I'm sure there's rage filling with people out there that are watching at my idea. I think it'd be very beneficial if Nintendo had Mario Kart ready right at launch, even if it's kind of a bare bones package overall. But enough about that. I want to hear about what you're playing, and maybe it's just with those amiibo like Toon Link.
Yeah, that's really all that I've done is acquired Amiibo, which is a very
You
hollow,
fail.
shallow
You fail at
experience.
your own game. I'm sorry to interrupt. I said Toon Link.
Did you? Oh,
Yes.
you did. You like integrated it into a sentence. You didn't like do it
Oh,
surprise style.
oh, now another rule. More rules.
You can't. Whatever. Cartoon Link.
Thank you. All right.
Link card. I'm sorry. Link cartoon. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I derailed your train of
you
thought.
did. You did, and I don't have anything else to say about my Amiibo except Toon Link.
Link Cartoon.
All right, good.
Wait, it is Link Cartoon, right?
Yes, it's the opposite because
Yeah, why did yeah, that's very confusing, by the way.
well, yeah, Link Cartoon sounds like it's a TV show or it's a movie that you're going to watch, or there is some kind of Link cartoon out there to watch that isn't from the 80s, but there isn't. So it's just like, what?
So you've just been dealing with Amiibo, not any games over the past week.
Yeah, I had a busy weekend of no gaming, which is kind of sad. But I was thinking a lot. I was thinking about Pokemon Shuffle or an actual game with actual content and an actual story that I've paid for and still not finished. And I was leaning towards that, and it just didn't happen. So,
I'm curious, have you been swayed at all by the new 3DS?
well, I was in an interesting spot during the last week because Best Buy had dropped their Gamers Club Unlocked program or whatever
Sounds right.
down in price from $100 to $30 for 2 years, which gives you I think, a 20% discount on physical retail games that are brand new, which is unlike what you could get at GameStop or Walmart without trading in games or something like that. So it seemed like a really good deal. And I went into Best Buy, my local Best Buy, to get into this program. And because you can't sign up or purchase it online. At least that's what it says in FAQs for Gamers Club. But I went up there and then I found the cards. You have to purchase a little card. You bring a little card and it's kind of like a gift card, and then you take it up to the cash register and then they charge you for the value of the card. But the card said $99.99 on it. And I thought, well, maybe they just have a bunch here. They don't want to just throw them out. So if they give me a $30 price point, then I'll also get Majora's Mask. And I grabbed Majora's Mask. I'm like, I'm going to get Majora's Mask. Yeah, because I've heard I've gotten so many recommendations from the wonderful listeners and watchers of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to happen. But then I was thinking, do I want to do this without the new 3DS? Without the circle, the C-stick nub thing? It's just like, oh, is it going to be as good? Well, it was all for naught, because when I went up to the cash register, or the cashier, and said, so recently I've been reading all over the news and I've seen in several spots on the internet that you've dropped the price of the Gamers Club. So this says $99.99, but if it's not and it's $30, I want to get this, and then I want to apply the benefit to Majora's Mask. And the cashier was like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I think you have to buy a $60 game, and then you can get this for $30. But I don't know. Let's try to ring it up. And it rang up as $99.99. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, forget it. Keep your Majora's Mask too. It wasn't that dramatic. I left, and I was just kind of stewing over it for the last week, thinking, why did that happen? And so I went back on the Best Buy's website, and I rediscovered, I found again the statement that says you can only purchase and activate the Gamers Club membership within stores. But then I saw a little link that said Gamers Club, $30. And I clicked it, and it actually showed a picture of the card, and it said $30 on the card. And it said, purchase the card and then take it in to the store to activate it.
Oh,
So
no.
here's the process. You have to go onto their website and purchase a gift card for Gamers Club, and then it's mailed to you. And then once you receive it in the mail, which you can receive it for free in 3 days, which is called expedited shipping, which I thought was funny, or you can get it priority shipped for $22. So you can have it the next day. Anyways, then you get that card. Then you go to Best Buy, and then you show them the card, and you say, activate me, and then maybe you get Majora's Mask. And you could, the discount, this is the real selling point, looking at these amiibo behind me, the discount, the 20% discount applies to amiibo as well.
That's
so
nice.
You can get amiibo discounted as well, which is really, really, really cool. So I finally pulled the trigger, so to speak, on that, and I'm awaiting my card. I did not pay an extra $22 to have that piece of plastic sent to me so that I could then go into the store to activate this thing. But maybe I'll get Majora's Mask, see what it's like, and if it feels underwhelming, maybe that will encourage me just a little tiny bit more to get a new 3DS. But that $200 price point is like, maybe I should wait and see if there's like more colors announced at E3, or
Oh yeah, there's going to be more colors.
Cool special editions that don't get sold out in seconds.
I do love my new 3DS now that I've had like more hands-on time with it. It's just quicker. It feels good. The C-Stick is, for me, absolutely necessary with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I haven't gotten to check it out with Majora's Mask 3D, but I'm going to be playing that this week, so I can come back with hopefully we can discuss it together. We can talk about all the cool masks we're wearing, not only in real life.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, not only about our mask in real life. We can finally talk about them in a virtual setting as well. So yeah, I'm not trying to sell anyone on it, but I've been very happy, especially with the Wii U definitely has a release lineup problem, but the 3DS is just killing it lately. Like, I was blown away. Codename Steam is later this week. I was like, oh my gosh, that came up on us rather quickly. And we have Etrian Mystery Dungeon, the 3DS, and on top of cool indie games like Ollie Ollie. I feel like content-wise, it really is like just kind of had this rejuvenated year so far that feels so much better than it did in 2014, at least for me personally. And it's just
Yeah.
like a lot of content. Like I feel like there has been a little bit of a rebirth. I'll be curious to hear about sales, but it's not only Nintendo games, we're getting cool third-party games, um, which is really exciting. And I hope Nintendo has more on the horizon as well.
Do you think that Nintendo has more on the horizon, and that means the new 3DS is actually intended to be here longer than the next 12 calendar months before a successor comes out?
I'm sure they want the new 3DS to last 2 years or whatever, if possible. I'm sure they want that. If I don't know if that is viable. I mean, they would need some really strong content. And a lot of the heavy hitters have already come out, like the Animal Crossing for the system, the Mario Kart. We've had
Yeah.
a couple of Mario games. We've had plenty of Zelda games. And I don't mean that in like stop making the Zelda games, but we've had 2 remakes. We've had an original game and everything. We've had a Donkey Kong Country remake. Um, I think we're going to see more remakes on 3DS over the next year. We have Xenoblade Chronicles 3D coming out next month, which
Hmm.
is crazy to think about. I think we're going to see even more 3D remakes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Super Mario Galaxy 3D. I'm trying to think of other Wii games and GameCube games. I think we're going to see a ton of filmmakers, and people seem to be really excited about them. So why shouldn't Nintendo continue to do it?
I think you cut out for a moment there. A ton of what?
We're going to see a ton more of these 3D ports like Xenoblade
Oh, okay.
Chronicles,
Yeah.
and people seem to be really excited about them. So Nintendo, it seems like, should continue to bring them out. I'm thinking of double dipping with Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Maybe I'll get all the way through it on the handheld.
That would definitely be a cool surprise. And I bet you would not be the only person attempting to do that. I have a feeling there are a lot of people out there who owned that gigantic game on Wii and just didn't get all the way through. They got sidetracked by something else, or they got just too engrossed in the side quests and then fell off the wagon. But I'll be interested to hear how many people out there, maybe in our audience, who can tell us that they didn't finish the game on Wii, but they're going to get it on 3DS with the objective of trying to finish it the second time around, like Evan was just mentioning.
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few out there. So, and that's just another big name game coming. So, very curious to see what else is coming. But let's step back now and let's get into the feedback from last week and go through that. We have a great email and some great comments to get through. And remember, if you want to be part of our feedback on the NF show, you can email us at show@nfmagazine.com or leave us a comment on our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/NF Magazine. And with that, Noah, tune link.
Link cartoon. I'm glad you said that because I was going to say it. Hopefully, I won't. I don't. I'm trying to think of a word that I won't contaminate the feedback section too much with our Marco Polo game, but expect more to come. Just warning you. First email comes from Toon Link.
Link cartoon.
Just kidding. That would be really cool if that character sent us an email. I'm trying to be very careful now with my word selection.
I think you'd be pretty creeped out if you're a movie back there with sending emails to our show.
There are some amiibo I would like to hear from. There are some that I would not like to hear from.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask. We want to get to your feedback. Mega Man's the best amiibo, right?
Uh, I don't know. I've been looking at his back all this time because I set them up in this pose a week and a half ago. He is really cool. He's
Thank
painted
you.
well, and he's got a metallic paint job. I think in terms of shiny factor, that
Samus.
Samus is ultimately a little bit more impressive to me because I just love shiny things, and there's so many colors of shiny.
There's a lot of detail.
A little bit more tastefully shiny. I really think Ike is great too, and actually, I definitely like Zelda. I'm really, of course, partial to all the ones that I have. Brett was showing off as King Day-to-Day last week to me, and that's a character that I've never really been that fond of from a Smash Brothers perspective or from a Kirby perspective, but that's also a really great little amiibo. There are some that I thought about getting just on design principles alone, but I'm trying to be a little bit more responsible. Still, I keep missing the stinking Gold Mario amiibo pre-order options. It was available again for a moment today. It's like,
You like the gold Mario?
yeah, I want the Gold Mario or the Silver Mario.
Oh,
I just want one of them.
oh, gold Mario, so gross, so gross.
Why is Gold Mario gross?
I do not like the gold Mario. Do not like it. The silver doesn't do much, but the gold one.
You think it's just trashy?
The gold, it's just, I just don't like it. I don't like it.
You're not the only one who says that. I think someone said that in the feedback last week that Gold Mario was not appealing, but Silver Mario actually was. And I think we're still waiting to find out where Silver Mario is going to manifest or be available, right?
Possibly gold Mario is Walmart, right?
Yeah, and I figured there's got to be some other retail exclusive for Silver Mario. Surely it's
Silver.
not going to be
Best
available
Buy or
everywhere.
Target, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. Somebody else had an idea that it might be a Club Nintendo reward, which I think would be very cruel.
Yeah. I would think if silver was Club Nintendo, then gold would have been, which they could still make them Club Nintendo, even though they're
That's
retailer
true.
exclusive too.
Yeah.
So,
All right, back to feedback. Our first email is from Chris, who wrote, "We've seen 3 Zelda games for 3DS thus far, 2 remakes and 1 a new 2D Zelda. We've seen that 3DS can do a 3D Zelda experience perfectly well. What do you think Nintendo could do with an original 3D title on 3DS as opposed to another 2D one?" So potentially Nintendo could go the route. And this is my answer, in case it seems like the email's still going on. I think Nintendo could go the route where it makes a sequel in the same way that Link Between Worlds was, where it does a sequel to one of the 64 games, whether it's Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. What do you think?
That'd be cool. I'd like to see Grezzo just tackle its own 3D Zelda. Possibly, I mean, maybe you keep the art style and you do make a sequel, but I know remaking's not the same as creating a whole new Zelda, but they've had to learn a lot of the ins and outs with 3D remakes now. I'd like to see what they could do. I'd love to see a brand new experience. For a game actually coming out in 3D, no, you may be right, especially with Ocarina of Time. Maybe you keep the same Hyrule, and that makes it easier and just have new dungeons. But I'd love to see just a totally new experience on the 3DS. And I think that they could push the visuals even further than we've seen just from a remake perspective to make something really special. Nintendo may want to keep 3D Zeldas and 2D Zeldas separate, handheld and console, but if the new 3DS is around for a couple of years, I think you're onto something.
When you started talking about Grezzo going and taking its own style, that reminded me of how Link Between Worlds did its own unique visual take on the Link sprite or the Link character presentation. And I was thinking, wow, it would be kind of cool if not only did we get a unique new 3D Zelda game on 3DS, but it was also another artistic interpretation of Link. We started to see just so many of them that it's kind of like, well, it would be kind of neat to see the style that was used in Link Between Worlds, or maybe another take on Link, just because they're doing their whole take on Zelda from top to bottom. That would be really neat.
Yeah, or we could just see Twilight Princess 3D.
Yeah, we could, but I definitely would. I'm getting. You were talking earlier about, oh, there's all this content coming to 3DS, and a lot of them are remakes or ports, and I feel like that's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm not sure if we should be completely happy with that. I guess we're so starved for content, it's nice to get any kind of content, even if it's a game that many of us have already played before, potentially. But it's also a bit of a downer where you want Nintendo to take the creative abilities it has and has demonstrated in all these great downloadable small titles on 3DS and actually make a full-on large game, much like they're doing with Splatoon for Wii U, let's see some more of that on 3D on the handheld scene as well. But there's also a question that is in the background, the elephant in the room, Evan, that you were talking about earlier, and we've talked about many times. We know there's new hardware that's going to be coming out. It could be out as soon as next year. It probably won't be any later than the year after that, 2017. And at some point, Nintendo has to stop really focusing or prioritizing content for its console and or its handheld in the interest of making new launch content for the new hardware, whether that's a console or a handheld or both, in Evan's mind. And so maybe that's why we're seeing more remakes. Maybe that means we'll see more ports and remakes because of that. That's going to be the easiest way to fill in the gaps between now and then. But I'd still rather see something a little bit fresher.
That's understandable.
Now we're going to get into the comment section. First up is Benjamin, who wrote, "This was a unique episode for sure. I liked it," referring to my time with Brett last week. "I'm still going strong on Pokemon Shuffle. I have also dived back into Majora's Mask 3D. Without spoilers, I will just say that I'm making my way to the third dungeon. I've never played the original, but I'm really enjoying this. My amiibo addiction is going crazy. I made an impulse buy of Marth on eBay for a whopping $45. I want to smack myself because a day or two after I read online from Nintendo's Twitter that they will be having them back in stock in late April. Ugh. Oh well. It was too late. All I'm missing currently is Meta Knight. Then I eagerly await pre-orders for the next wave. My question is, what functionality do you want Amiibo to hold, and in what game?" Now, if you are a visitor to our YouTube channel, Brett actually left his response to this question over on our YouTube page for last week's episode, so you can go and check that out. But let's hear, Evan, what new functionality would you like to see on Amiibo?
Well, one thing I speculated on months ago was that virtual console games could come with Amiibo, and Nintendo decided to do something more sinister. They would just have little experiences from virtual console games featuring that character that you could play, sort of like the moments you could play from virtual console games in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. So I'm not a big fan of that idea. I'd rather you just get like a game with it. But as for Amiibo, what game would I like to see them in that they're not already, or that they're coming out? I would honestly like to see a game where Amiibo is the focus or whatever. Maybe a Skylanders like action RPG or something, but where it's really toys to life and you're building up these characters and have an RPG element. Maybe even if it was something like the old what were the Marvel games called from Activision? Not Marvel Unlimited.
Oh, it has an A in it. This is like Wheel of Fortune.
They did X-Men Legends, and then
X-Men Legends.
Oh, this is gonna
Marvel
kill us.
Ultimate Alliance, I think.
Yeah, smart. Well done.
Yay! And I did that without the internet. Toon Link.
Link cartoon. Yeah, it'd be cool to see like even if it was like a small experience or just a downloadable experience. I think it'd be cool to actually kind of treat them in that way, or just something really wacky and out there would be cool to do. Maybe even if it was like a little Animal Crossing experience, but with Nintendo characters. You just have them like in a little town. I'd just like to see something unique where you're actually bringing them to life, and it's just not unlocking some content, basically.
You know those Skylander, I think they're the Skylander 2.0 or whatever. They're a wave of Skylanders that actually light up when you put them on the power portal.
Yeah.
You know what I would like? Here's my small, quick brainstorm of an idea, and granted, it's on a franchise that I dredge up again and again and again. But it would be really cool if there were an F-Zero game and all the amiibo were actually the
cars,
vehicles, and they actually lit up as well. So you could actually collect amiibo that are vehicles from the F-Zero game and they light up. That would be really cool.
I like that.
All right, cool.
I'll just jump on your idea. That's cool. Yeah. Free to play game. You buy amiibos to unlock new cars.
Yeah. Our next comment is from Old School 1990s. Hey guys, what a great episode! Thank you very much. I really appreciate I really appreciate everybody who gave the positive feedback for having Brett on the show and actually going out there. That was fun. Made it all the worthwhile. Old School 1990s continues. It was awesome getting to see a lot of cool Nintendo memorabilia. I liked the Captain Toad plushies the best. Yeah! I upgraded to the new 3DS XL from my original launch 3DS. Wow.
Wow. Yeah,
Nice.
that has to be a huge jump.
Yeah. I still find myself going through my 3DS library just to see how the 3D is on some of the games that I had just given up using it on. What games do you feel that the improved 3D would make the greatest impact? So far for me, it is Kid Icarus Uprising and Star Fox 64 3D. Evan?
I haven't really gone back through old games. There have been so many new games for me to play, like I've said, and I've been preoccupied with those. I think it'd be great to see Kid Icarus Uprising again, to check that out. Super Mario 3D Land would be another choice that'd be really cool because that used 3D in really intriguing ways.
Oh, that's a great one when you're thinking about those puzzle levels that
Hmm.
required 3D. And I'm glad that Old School 1990s brought up Star Fox 64 3D. That's a game that I've long wanted to get, but I just don't want to spend $40 on, and so now I want to look and see again if it's still $40
I
because I don't think it's worth
think
it.
it's probably got that Nintendo discount, $34.99 now, 4 years later.
It's evergreen, yeah.
You know what? A
Uh,
Link Between Worlds would be cool too.
yeah,
Just 3D. I mean, I
which
liked
is a
it
pretty
originally,
game.
but it's cool to see it kind of pop out and everything.
Yeah. Next comment is from Kisaki Project, who wrote, "Man, this episode is great. Poor Evan missed out." Oh,
Oh
that's
man,
true. I think Gold Mario is ugly, but I
thank
like the
you,
silver. Oh, here's the comment that I was thinking of, actually.
Saki Project and I.
I also have the Skull Kid figure, and man, he is scary. I've completed all the dungeons in Majora's Mask. Got to get the rest of the masks now. Well, good, good. Nice update, Kisaki Project. You're definitely chugging along there and actually playing your games unlike Bad Noah. Next comment is from Seventh Experiment, who wrote, "Nice to see such a special episode. This is definitely one of my favorites. Thank you. Loved seeing all of Brett's amiibo and those Captain Toad plushies. I saw both of those Captain Toad plushies on Amazon. If you're serious on buying them, Noah, they are definitely very cute. It is really tempting. Those were so cute. And I don't know. I don't know if I've crossed the boundary of I only want hard plastic figurines. Now I don't want stuffed animals because if you've been watching the show for a long time, you might remember I used to have this really dorky looking plush toad doll back behind me that was from the 1990s. It's still here. I didn't like throw them out or something. But when I upgraded to the plastic statue figurine, it's just like this toad is so superior. But those Toad plushies. They were well designed. They didn't look like some weird artistic interpretation of Toad. They looked accurate, and all the little doodads and extras on them. I agree. I mean, thanks for letting me know about Amazon. I'm gonna go check that out after the show.
What happened to your Roy plushie?
Oh, I don't want to have this gigantic pile of crap behind me during the show, so I can't have everything at once. And since amiibo are such a popular topic, I figured that having my amiibo out there, and since I keep adding to them, and I can put them in these little posed scenarios and scenes behind me. I think it's a nice small thing to do. But who knows? I might surprise people and pull out my Samus Figma figure again, or my plush Roy, or maybe I'll take my Kirby's home from work. I have all my little Kirby's at work right now. But I digress. Continue with Seventh Experiment's comment. I liked your guys' discussion on Amiibo and Wave 4 pre-orders. I'm hoping that Nintendo really is holding off on those Wave 4 pre-orders in order to ensure they can make more of the figures. Wave 4 has Robin and Lucina, which are two Amiibo I really want to have. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Tamagotchi Life. I put both of you guys knowing to have it on my island. Awesome! I also put Lucas in there. All three of you have branched out and made friends with some of the other islanders, but none of you have befriended each other yet. Wow.
Exactly.
Games imitate life. This is where it's life in the games instead
We
of
talked about
toys to
wearing
life.
masks earlier. We wear our friend mask on the show. We're forced together for 1 hour every week. You don't
That's
want to
great.
see what it's really like. Yeah. Before
It's
we
great.
go live, it's just you don't want to be in here. It's nasty.
Yeah, it's heated, and yeah, we get all of R-rated words out of the way before we start recording.
What, you know how like you see Wada and Miyamoto and everyone's like, oh, they're best friends. Behind the scenes, those guys just despise each other. You know it. And that's how we are. We're basically the American version of Iwata and Miyamoto.
Wow, I did not see that going there, but that's a great analogy there. Thank you everybody for all of the incredible, awesome feedback. I love hearing about awkward situations that happen when Evan and I are put into Tamagotchi games. Those are just too funny. And I, of course, and Evan I think as well, love hearing all of your collectible obsessions, particularly Amiibo, anything else that you're getting out there. We all have an itch to scratch. We all have little toys in the background behind us. So keep sending those in. That's it for feedback, though. Back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Noah. And yes, I need that NES amiibo. I've been keeping tabs on that. I was worried the pre-orders would go up while I was on vacation, and I kind of just
That would have been cruel.
miss out. I mean, it wouldn't have been. Mega Man was like my holy grail, and now I have Eternal Life from his Blue Bomber awesomeness. So yeah, I'm good on there. But anyway, thanks everyone for joining us here on episode 57, titled Backed. Remember, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. I think we have over 500 subscribers. It'd be awesome to reach the 1,000-mile mark and slowly creep up and become on equal status with NF Magazine, those paid subscribers. There's also an NF Show playlist, so now you can just go through 57 episodes. If you're really bored over the next couple of weeks, you can just go through all of those, see
Binge
how
watch.
the show, binge watch. Yeah, stop binge watching on Netflix. Binge watch our NF Show playlist. You can also subscribe and review us on iTunes. Please, if you do get the show from iTunes, take the time to review us. It helps with publicity on the iTunes platform. Plus, we definitely read through your reviews and take that to heart and try to continue to make this show the best that we can. Finally, if you don't get enough of us here on the NF Show, you can follow us 24/7 on Twitter. I'm at Evan Campbell. Noah's at This Is Noah. And most importantly, the official NF Magazine Twitter account is at Nintendo Force. Come join the Force. Noah, do you have any parting words?
I look forward to playing more games over the next week to talk about those and not figurines. That's my objective.
Gamer Club unlocked.
Yeah.
And the question will become, will Noah then get a new 3DS? Does it work with hardware?
It does not, unfortunately, which made me a little bit sad. But since everything else is covered, it's not too bad.
Yeah, cool. I can't wait to see what you may buy, including more Amiibo. And I'll definitely be back with talk of Majora's Mask, most likely Pokemon Shuffle, as well as Monster Hunter, and who knows what else. So be sure to be back here next week, same time, same duo. Thanks for joining us, though, this week, everyone, and we'll see you once again. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.